I ought to be God to you. God giveth, God taketh away.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is the most exciting deck that I've been looking forward to making ever since Outlaws of Thunder Junction was spoiled. It's the one that I've been waiting for, and I finally pulled the trigger and did it. This is called Mardu Giveth, and the idea here is we're utilizing a ton of hyper-synergistic cards that work well with Kambal and Generous Plunderer, who already work insanely well together, and we're creating ridiculous value and being able to end the game through just insane life loss triggers very quickly. And the best way to make this deck happen, I experimented with a bunch of different possibilities, a bunch of different builds. Blood Vial Purveyor is a really good possibility for using with Kambal or with Generous Plunderer, but ultimately I decided that an Anvil shell is where this combo kind of sits best in, and where the deck functions at its best, even if it doesn't get the combo online. But then if you can, hyper synergize with either Plunderer or Kambal, or maybe both, it gets even crazier. So we're going to break down the deck in full. Before we get there, make sure you like the video. It's because of you guys that have been liking every video that this channel is growing so fast. Without your support, I don't know where we'd be. So if you're one of those dudes, keep liking the video. I appreciate it so much. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe, because I have tons of deck techs coming and a whole bunch of new spoiler content. So you don't want to miss anything. Hit that subscribe button. Join the community. We'd love to have you. With all that out of the way, we're going to jump into the deck. But first, catch me live Monday through Friday over on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/QuarantineCapricorn, because if I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. Also, a huge shout out to my patrons over at patreon.com/QuarantineCapricorn. That's Hector, 𝐿𝐹𝑎𝑣𝑜𝑟𝑡𝑒, and Kaylin at the Brew Crew Elite tier. Bobby as a pity patron, and our forever CPU savior, Terrence Rohrbach. It's a mouthful, but I appreciate the hell out of you guys, so thank you so much. Now let's check out this deck. Alright, so this is probably my favorite deck that we've made so far in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. The synergies that we're able to layer on top of each other here just get really, really crazy, and it all compounds into just an insane amount of value that we can usually just roll over the opponent and win. So, first of all, we have Kambal, Profiteering Mare. 3 mana, 2/4 legendary human advisor in the colors of Orzhov. Whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your opponent's control, for each of them you create a tapped token that's a copy of it, but this ability triggers only once each turn. It's important to note that the first time your opponent makes tokens, you're going to get those tokens as well, but only the first time during any given turn, okay? Now, your opponent can make tokens on your turn, and your opponent can make tokens on their turn, and the first time that happens on both turns, you're gonna get those tokens, but only the first time each turn. So if you want to get more tokens, sometimes you need to line things up appropriately, and keep that in mind. The second ability here is whenever one or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So Kambal's really good when you're making your own tokens, if you're getting as many triggers as possible to make tokens that are separate triggers, because each separate trigger is going to drain a life. If you make 7 tokens all at once as part of one trigger, you're only going to drain life once. But if you make a token, and then you make another token, and then you make another token, and then you make another token, you'll drain for 4 with all 4 of those triggers. So a couple things to note. He's better when you can make a bunch of tokens on your turn, or on your opponent's turn really, that are separate triggers, that are making their tokens separately, because you can drain even more. And then, and the first time during your turn, the first time during their turn, you're going to get tokens whenever they get tokens. Now this pairs perfectly well with Generous Plunderer. 2 mana, 2/2, it is a human rogue. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may create a treasure token. When you do, target opponent creates a tapped treasure token. So, first of all, sometimes it's not going to be beneficial to give them treasure tokens. They are tapped, so they can't use that mana right away to interact with your board if they don't have enough mana otherwise to interact with your board to cast their instant speed removal or whatever. So that is super helpful, but if you're trying to like avoid a Sunfall or something like that, maybe you don't want to give them the mana, you can always choose not to get that trigger. But if you have a Kambal on the battlefield, and this happens, not only will you get a treasure from Generous Plunderer if you choose to let this trigger happen, and that will trigger Kambal so that you drain for one, but then also giving your opponent a treasure is going to make you get another treasure off of Kambal, and that treasure is a separate trigger, so that will also drain one. So basically with a Kambal and a Generous Plunderer out, the Plunderer will net you 2 treasures and 2 triggers off of Kambal, while also giving your opponent a treasure. So we're able to take advantage of giving our opponents artifact tokens by getting those tokens ourselves and getting triggers off of Kambal, and then also piling up tokens on the opponent's side, because Generous Plunderer's other ability is whenever they attack, it deals damage to defending player equal to the number of artifacts they control. So as they start to accrue artifact tokens, if they're not able to get rid of them, the amount of damage the Generous Plunderer can do just stacks up and stacks up and stacks up. So these 2 cards just perfectly fit together and cross synergize and really help each other go off. But then there's a bunch of ways that we can take that and turn it up to 11. And the best 2 are 2 really, really cheap, efficient, good pieces of instant speed removal in the form of Get Lost and Fateful Absence. So Get Lost, destroy any creature, enchantment, or planeswalker for just 2 mana at instant speed. Already a really, really good piece of removal that sees a lot of play. But they also create 2 map tokens, the controller of whatever you destroy. Well, now those 2 map tokens do even more for us. Instead of them just getting this extra value they might be able to use, now they have 2 more artifacts that when we swing with the Generous Plunderer, instead of them having 1 treasure and us pinging for 1, now they've got a treasure and 2 map tokens, and we ping for 3, which can get just really crazy. And not only that, but we play the Get Lost when we have Kambal out, we also get those 2 map tokens, and the second ability triggers and gets us a drain trigger. So we can exponentially increase the amount of value we get from either Kambal or Generous Plunderer if we've only got one or the other. But if we have them both on the field, we can exponentially increase just the amount of value we get off of these extra artifact tokens we're putting onto the battlefield on our opponent's side. And then in a similar fashion, Fateful Absence does the same thing, where instead of giving them 2 map tokens, we get to destroy any creature or planeswalker, and then they get a clue token. It's not going to be as good as for Generous Plunderer as the Get Lost, because they were only getting the 1 artifact token and not 2. But I think it's a little bit better for Kambal, because if we get the 2 map tokens at the same time, they both still end up giving us 1 drain life, right? Because they happen as the same trigger. Whereas with Fateful Absence, we only have to give them 1 piece of resource, 1, clue token, and we still get that drain. So depending on the scenario, either of these can kind of be better than the other, but both of them are just way too good in this deck that we had to include 4 copies of each, and it just gets nutty. I think the best part about this combo is the fact that you don't need the 2 together, right? Kambal works really well with any 3 of these cards, any of these 3 cards. Generous Plunderer works really well with any 3 of these cards. So you have multiple combos that layer on top of each other that are not codependent on each other to exist. And that it makes it so much more efficient and so much more consistent. And then we just take this basic concept and we're able to turn it up to 11 by including these cards in an Anvil build. Now, I tried a bunch of different ways of approaching basically these 4 cards in a deck, trying to take these synergies to the max. And I think Anvil is just the absolute best home, because even without all the crazy shenanigans of giving your opponents a bunch of artifacts with these removal spells, trying to figure out how to get the absolute most value out of Kambal, or swinging with a Generous Plunderer to do the absolute most damage. Like, all of that is really good, but at the end of the day, Generous Plunderer gives you free artifacts. Kambal is sometimes going to give you free artifacts, and he's always going to drain whenever you make tokens. So both of those cards will work really well, despite being part of this combo and this overlapping synergy. Either one will work really well, just supporting an artifact token strategy, right? If our deck is making a bunch of tokens every turn, independently with different triggers for each, we're able to trigger Kambal a bunch of times and get a bunch of drains. So that can just be good in and of itself. And then Generous Plunderer giving us free artifact tokens every single turn so that we can use it to fuel Anvil just leads to me realizing that Anvil is the best build to include these synergies in, because if you're not getting the combo, you're still getting an insane amount of efficient board presence, and you're able to just close out games super quick. So Anvil's the best. 2-mana artifact. Whenever one or more artifacts you control leave the battlefield during your turn, you create a 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn, and then you can tap it and sack an artifact to deal 1 damage to each opponent, and you gain 1 life. So again, Kambal's giving you free artifacts, the Plunderer's giving you free artifacts. You're able to take those artifacts, sacrifice them, drain for 1, make a 1/1 construct, and then when that 1/1 construct comes into play, it'll trigger Kambal, drain again. So it can just get really, really absurd. So Anvil is definitely the best shell for it. Starting at the bottom of the curve here to talk about the rest of the cards, we've got 4 Voldaren Epicure and 4 Novice Inspector, because the Novice Inspector here is going to make a clue token when you play it. The Epicure is going to make a blood token when you play it. Not only are these really good chump blockers that drag out the game, but they give us fodder that we can sacrifice with Anvil to turn into 1/1s and get our engines going that we can then turn up to 11 once we have Kambal or Generous Plunderer online. So really cheap stuff we can get out quick. And then moving on to our 2-drop slots, we've got 4 Legion Extruder, which is another new card in Outlaws of Thunder Junction. 2 mana for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target, so this can be removal, or it can just help close out the game against an opponent where you just do 2 damage to the head. And then you also have this ability to pay 2, tap it, sack any other artifact, and create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. So with a Legion Extruder on the battlefield and an Oni-Cult Anvil and a Kambal, we can do crazy things like use the Legion Extruder, pay 2 mana, sack an artifact, right? And we get a 1/1 from the Anvil. We get a 3/3 from the Legion Extruder's ability. Both of those trigger Kambal, and we get 2 drains. And then we can still use our Oni-Cult Anvil to sack something and drain if we want to. And there's just so much insane value we can generate, it's crazy. Not only that, but the 4 Legion Extruders, along with the 4 Fateful Absence and the 4 Get Lost, give us a ton of removal that isn't just removal. It's removal that's also board presence. Now, Legion Extruder's always going to give us this optional board presence so that we can turn artifacts into relevant 3/3 golems. And then Fateful Absence and Get Lost are only really giving us board value, extra board presence if we have a Kambal, or the ability to end the game quick if we have a Plunderer. So they're more conditional, but still, these cards are good enough to be used in decks without that extra layer of synergies. So the fact that there's potential here to get even more value off of these really great removal cards that are good enough to use anyway, by getting a bunch of copies of the tokens and drains with Kambal, or just having more fodder to swing in and just nuke their face with because now they have a bunch of artifact tokens, it's just super, super good. And then we've also got 4 Yotia Declares War, which is even more removal. That means we have incidental removal on the Extruder. We've got removal with the Fateful Absence and the Get Lost, and we've also got removal on Chapter 2 of Yotia Declares War. Chapter 1, it's going to make an 0/2 flying 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ artifact creature token, which is going to trigger our Kambal and also potentially be fodder for our Anvil. And then on Chapter 2, we can tap any number of untapped artifacts we control to do that much damage to any creature or planeswalker. This is a way to kill a bigger creature, because we go so wide with artifacts. So Chapter 3, up to one target artifact we control becomes a 4/4 base power and toughness creature. So it gives us a little bit of extra damage potential too at the end, but the most important thing about this card is just on chapter 1, it gives us an artifact token, it's gonna trigger Kambal, it's gonna give us fodder for Anvil, it's gonna give us fodder for Legion Extruder, and then on chapter 2, it can act as removal. So getting both of those things out of one 2-mana card is really, really good, and it's very, very similar to the kind of value we get out of Legion Extruder, just sort of in the opposite order in a way. But yeah, just the fact that we have so much removal, but the removal also doubles as board presence, makes this deck super, super good. And then our 3-drop slots, in addition to the 4 combos, we've got 3 1-ofs, because each of them works really, really well in this deck. But I think it's better to have 1 of each of those instead of 3 of one of them. That way, if you happen to get 1 of one and 1 of the other, you can actually have them both in play at the same time, and they're all good enough to be worth their spot in the deck. First up, we've got Delney Streetwise Lookout, 3 mana for a 2/2. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. And if an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. That means our 2/2 Generous Plunderer, we're going to get double triggers on making treasures and giving our opponents treasures. And then when it swings, we're also going to get double triggers on doing damage to our opponent's head, which can absolutely be insane. And it doesn't even stop there, because Delney also makes it pseudo unblockable since it's a 2-power creature and it swings in. Nothing with power 3 or more can block it, so it can only really be chump blocked by small stuff. So Delney just works insanely well with the Plunderer, but it also works with Kambal. Kambal's a 2-power creature too. Kambal can get pseudo unblockable, and whenever Kambal's drain ability triggers, it's gonna drain it twice because of a Delney being in play. So just tons of overlapping synergy with our key pieces, but it doesn't even stop there. Delney works with our Novice Inspector. We'll get 2 clue tokens instead of 1 when we play it. Epicure will get 2 blood tokens instead of 1 when we play it, and having all that much more fodder for our Anvil and for our Legion Extruder is just insane. So Delney's really, really good. I'm going to stick with 1 because it's legendary, and like I said before, I think having 1 copy each of these 3 really good 3-drop legendaries that all work super well with the deck is going to be better than just having like 3 Delneys. But I think at least 1 is an absolute auto-include. And then we've also got Teysa, Opulent Oligarch, 3 mana for a 2/3 legendary human advisor with Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, you investigate for each opponent who lost life this turn, which is really easy to make happen when you have Oni-Cult Anvil, which just deals 1 damage no matter what. So even if you're not able to swing in with something like a Plunderer or whatever, just triggering Kambal, just using your Anvil, either of those are going to deal a damage, which means you're almost always going to investigate at the beginning of your end step, right? Which gives you more clue tokens to potentially draw more cards, but also more fodder for your Extruder and your Anvil. It's almost like a machine. But also, whenever a clue you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you get to make a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. But this ability triggers only once each turn. So, first of all, this is a 2-power creature, so it's another thing that if you have your Delney out, we can get double triggers off the Teysa, right? We can get 2 clue tokens at the end of our turn instead of 1. And then we can sack 1 of our clue tokens on our own turn, and we'll get an additional 1/1 flyer. And if we sack 1 of our clue tokens on the opponent's turn, we can also get an additional 1/1 flyer. So we can do things like on our turn, use Anvil to sack a clue token. And then we get a 1/1 to replace the clue token we sacked, and we also get a 1/1 flying spirit off of Teysa for that. Then, at the end of our turn, we get the clue token trigger. Then we can say go, and on our opponent's turn, we can use a Legion Extruder to sacrifice another clue token and make a 3/3. And since we sacrificed a clue token, Teysa will trigger again on our opponent's turn and give us another 1/1 flyer. Which is really, really good because that ability can normally only happen once a turn, but there's so many easy ways in this deck to make that happen once on our turn and once on their turn. So not only are we exponentially increasing the amount of creature tokens we're making in general, But being able to activate things on their turn means we can get even more. We can just turn it up to 11 and get a ton of value off Teysa. Not to mention the fact she's got Death Touch, right? So if you're absolutely desperate, you could always block something really nasty and trade with it, which is really, really good. And then we have one Anim Pakal, because you kind of have to run it. 1/2 legendary human soldier for 3 mana. Whenever you attack with one or more non-gnome creatures, you put a +1/+1 counter on Anim Pakal, and then create X 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of counters on Anim Pakal. So when we slam this on 3, if we have creatures that are ready to swing, even if it's just like a Voldaren Epicure, we swing, we trigger Anim Pakal, we make gnome tokens, which are also attacking and getting in for damage, but then we can sacrifice those gnomes because they're all artifact creatures. We can sack them to the Anvil, we can sack them to the Extruder, we can tap them with the Yotia Declares War to do damage to a creature. Like, there's just so much value we can get out of those gnome tokens that we absolutely have to include in Anim Pakal. It's just too good to not include, right? But what's really cool about this too is, as Anim Pakal gets bigger, we won't be able to trigger the Delney, but at least the very first time we trigger Anim Pakal, if we do have a Delney down, we can get extra value off of it, which is nice. The Anim Pakal itself is going to get a counter and make a gnome token, and then because it's 2 power or less, Delney will make it trigger again. It will get another counter, and then it will make 2 gnome tokens. So if you have a Delney out while you have Anim Pakal's trigger happening, you'll end up getting 2 counters and 3 total tokens for your first activation. At that point on, it's just you have to use it fairly, but getting almost like a turn head start on Anim Pakal, getting a whole turn ahead sort of on activations is huge and can just help your board go super wide with artifact creatures, which is really, really important when you have stuff like Anvil and Legion Extruder to take advantage of them. So all of that stuff is going to trigger Kambal. It's going to drain for a bunch of damage. It just gets really, really absurd. So the deck is insane. We have 16 pieces of removal in here while still having almost every card in the deck under almost every circumstance generate board presence and put pressure on the opponent, and that's exactly the kind of spot we want to be in with a deck like this. And because of all the blood tokens and clue tokens, we're almost never running out of gas. The deck is just crazy. It's just crazy. We can get away with running 21 lands because we do have so much draw potential, and we also have the potential to make treasures with Generous Plunderer, that even if we are a land shorter than where we want to be, we can kind of still get there and get out what we need to with these treasures until we finally get our next land. So between the treasures and all of the card draw potential to draw into our lands, we don't need as many lands. We're running 21. One of those is a Mirex, because we absolutely want the ability to make 1/1 mites that we can then use as, you know, things to fuel all of our combos that care about artifact tokens. So perfect inclusion. The rest of the lands are pretty much all dual lands that are very, very specifically picked out so that we're able to most consistently curve the way we want to, and you can check out exactly what the breakdown of those lands are in the deck list in the description. I'm not going to go over all of them here because I've dragged this deck tech out long enough as it is. What you guys really want to see is the gameplay and see this thing in action, and I gotta tell you, it cooks, man. It cooks. Like, the deck is just nuts, so I'm gonna shut up. We're gonna check out the games. They are wild. Alright, we're gonna keep 7. Let's see. Novice Inspector first? I think Novice Inspector first. Because if he drops a 1/1, we can still swing. Plunderer on 2. Mono. Yo, Kambal on 3, right? Another Kamano. All of the incidental life gain just really helps this deck do so much more. Kambal. Use our treasure to play the Epicure. Drain again. Swing. Ping. And hit. We are outpacing mono red. Granted, we are on the play. But, come on. Kind of deserve it, right? Squeeby. Hello, sir. You do have a treasure. Which means if I block Squee with Kambal... Hey! We're gonna get a 1-1. Radical. Let's do that. I don't need to chance a shock. I have plenty of life, and Kambal's gonna give me more life. This forces him to have to blow his trick or lose his creature. Would you like to use your treasure, sir? I do appreciate you giving me a 1-1. That was very nice of you. Now I have a chump blocker for next turn. Aw, that is sad. Very sad. Gotta make sure he loses life so we get to investigate with Teysa. Teysa's also got Death Touch. I kinda don't mind if we just throw her in front of Squee. If we had had a way to sack the clues without spending mana, like our Anvil, would have been really good. Because we could have gotten a 1-1 as well to use as a chump blocker. Alright, we get another 1-1. And drain for 1. He's gotta be pissed about that, man. Monstrous Rage? I don't think it's enough, but you have to use it. Oh boy. Take care of that. Get some drainies. So close. So close. They come in tapped. So close. So close. We're gonna pass. We have to hold up blockers, unfortunately. Yeah, we were really, really close. No shock for you. We have to assume he has a shock, which means we can't take any damage. He already used a monstrous rage, so it's unlikely. It's much more likely he has a shock. Well, I guess he kind of used a shock already too, right? But this way, he would have to use a lightning strike in order to kill Kambal. 2 damage wouldn't do it. Alright, he's mapping. He's got a bloodthirsty adversary. He probably wants to keep that, I would assume. Nope, he got rid of it. That's kind of crazy. I thought he was going for lethal next turn. I mean, he still kind of is, right? But Kambal number 2, go away. Could you imagine if any of these combos were just cheaper spells instead of Kambal? Alright, we're gonna have to hold up Fateful Absence, right? And we're gonna have to do this too. Generous Plunderer. That might be too slow. I don't think that's going to do it for us. We're going to pass the turn. We can Fateful Absence, but it is going to cost us a life to do it. Or we can crack a clue if he's not bold enough to swing. Dragon Engine. You coming in? He is coming in. You're very ballsy. Gotta give you that. And there we go. There it is. Misdirected hostility, baby. We'll get a token. We'll drain one. We'll map. We got Delney on top. And we'll swing 4. Good night. We beat Mono Red. We can keep this. It's not the best because of the land, but it's still good. Well, now it's not so bad. Let's start with the pass. Actually, I should have held on to that since we don't have a 1-drop. If we happen to top deck another fast land, we're going to regret it. Alright, so far we're okay. Alright, we could do 2 damage to them. Is that worth it? What are we doing next turn? Playing a Caves to play a Kambal. Yotia Declares War is better after the Kambal. Alright. Hey, thanks, Nord. Today's actually been really awesome. We had a bunch of people on gifting subs earlier. We got 96 gift subs today. 96. Alright. We got our Kambal. Go ahead and make a token. Give me a token. Give me my map tokens. Sick. Give me that. Thank you. Drain you again. Swing for 2. Let's go. We're doing it, boys. We are doing it. Extraction specialist. Sure. Can't block. Do we need to kill the extraction specialist? What could we tap to do it? 1, 2. I mean, probably better to kill Ellis, right? Kill Ellis. Then we'll go sack that. Get a 1/1. Get a 3/3. Make some tokens. Swing with Kambal. Put him at 10. Yeah, this deck is gross. Certified gross. You posted the deck list, Prodigy? That's awesome. Dude, doesn't even matter. You down. Get you down. Swing 4. And then we'll sack you. Drain for 1. Get a 1/1. Put you at 5. Extruder's back to being a thing. triple throw from the saddle. Oh god. That'd be pretty wild. Go for the throw of the Plunderer. I mean, you have to, you're gonna die, right? Tap any number. And he scoops. He has seen enough. 5 wins. 5. Shattered Sanctum on 1, Mirex on 2 for an Extruder, but then we don't have Anim Pakal on 3, which would be a bummer. We are on the draw. I'll keep it. Surveilling 1. I mean, this should actually be kind of okay, right? We've got a draw here, draw discard here. Between the two, we should be able to at least find our 3rd land. Good luck, buddy. Well, we didn't have the red for Anim Pakal anyway, and we don't have it for Legion Extruder. Fateful Absence. Give you the most expensive thing first. End the turn. We might dump a Get Lost here. We need red mana. No red mana. We got a couple options. We could crack the clue, hope to hit a red off the top, and then play Oni-Cult Anvil. Or we just play Delney. I think we just play Delney. If we have a play that can create board presence and put pressure on the opponent, I think we do that first. I don't think we go digging with the clue until we don't have anything else left to do. Because if we don't hit what we want with the clue, then we kind of wasted our turn. Well, it's tapped, but it's something. Alright, we are going to hold up Get Lost and the clue. Are you actually going to block? Have some map tokens. Have some map tokens, my friend. Well, we do have some red. Finally. We're gonna try to play Anim Pakal. Okay, you've got a cut down ready. Well, we'll still swing in 2. Legion Extruder is not going to get it done here. We will play an Oni-Cult Anvil. And we will crack to draw a card and trigger the anvil. And we will pass the turn. Map. Token. We're gonna get lost him, so it doesn't matter. Do it. I'm gonna block here. Sack it to the anvil. Drain one. What you got, buddy? Not a whole lot. We're gonna play Kambal. And then we're gonna play Epicure. Are you gonna kill my Kambal? You did. That is very rude. Drain one, make our stuff, swing in, trade. He's at 8, and he's running out of gas. And we got gas. Talion, he's got to pick 2, right? Alright. Does create a problem. Loses 2 life, and you draw a card. No blocks. Legion Extruder. Kill you. Swing. Play you. Sack you. We're out of gas, so I want to save the poo token. He's down to 4. He's down to 4. Have I tried Preacher of the Schism in this deck? I have not. Might be a good one, though. Sheoldred, huh? Get out of here. And he scoops. Alright, we're going to keep this. We're going to start with Sanctum. We have so much removal, too. Thing is, too, Kambal is going to be good with any tokens our opponents make, too. So it's not like we have to force them to make tokens. Like, there's going to be plenty of decks that it's going to work really well with. Swift Spear. Life gain lands in a deck that's running Swift Spear. Now I've seen everything. Now I've seen everything. Do we try and dump something to dig? That's the question. Probably not. I think we just hold up Fateful Absence. Pass the turn. I'm gonna be evil here. Watch what I do. Sure. Alright, never mind. I thought he was gonna swing with the 1-2 and have a bunch of instant speed pump, so I was gonna block, force him to waste his instant speed pump, and then still Fateful Absence his creature. Which would have been wonderful. No. Daddy says no. There is no way Prowess beats this Purveyor. There's no way. It's not happening. It is not happening. Alright, plays another Swift Spear, gets a blood token. What, you want to draw a card? Go for it. Probably a mistake. But you do you. Swing for 8. Then we'll sack this guy. Yeah, we totally got you, buddy. Totally. Stop on my upkeep. We can make a Mirrex token in response and kill a 3 toughness thing if we need to. Technically, we could kill a 4 toughness thing, but... You got a blood token, buddy. Congrats. You got another one. Look at that. Take 8. Oof. We've got no red, but I'm gonna try it. We are on the draw, which is fine, because we have more chances to hit our red land. Slick shot, that's fine. We've got removal for days, so do your thing. See, if we kill it right now, he doesn't get to draw a card. But he also could have protection, right? Yep, he does. That's okay, though. We'll get him next turn. He gets to cast one more spell. And then we get Lost It. And then, I mean, unless he's super lucky and he has another Slick Shot. Oh shit, it's got Ward 1 now? Oh damn, that changes everything. Yeah, missing that land drop lost us the game. God damn it. We would have been fine if we just had our land drop. We would have killed it. He wouldn't have been able to recover. And we definitely should not need more land. We have 21, which statistically speaking means we hit 3 on turn 3. And we don't need more than 3. And we have like a million cards in the deck that either draw us cards or give us treasure. Alright, we'll keep this. Start with the Ridge. No. Play out the Anvil. Pass the turn. Okay. Kinda tricky. Kinda tricky. We'll just use all of our mana. Save the other stuff for when we draw a 4th land, potentially. Play 2 spells in 1 turn. Alright. Fine. Shard, of course. Weird. So we can hold up Fateful Absence and play something else. I guess it depends how greedy we want to be. We'll hit this while he can't buff it. Next turn, we'll probably Yotia Declares War and then sack the token to the Extruder. No, we're not going to pass the damage. We're going to kill this thing. It would be really nice to get the Plunderer down, though. I guess, I mean, he doesn't have any creatures yet, right? Another Extruder. Let's do this. end turn. Not having more red mana has definitely hurt us. And I've made like the greediest plays, not the safe plays. But we can drain for one if we're desperate with the Anvil. So that's something to keep in mind. Just hits for 2. We get double triggers. That seems wonderful. We're going to sack a treasure to the Legion Extruder. Then we're going to Yotia Declares War. Make disappear. Sure. And then we'll hit you for 10. Which is gross. We'll end the turn. Once again, we can Oni-Cult Anvil to gain 1 life and go up to 14 if we're desperate. We're absolutely going to block the Kamano. Fading Hope the Delney. Interesting. I mean, the Plunderer just kills you next turn, if you're worried about that. But you also could have just, like, Fading Hope to token, so I can't block. Unless maybe he also has a shock or something. Go ahead. You do what you gotta do. That's 12. That is not enough, friend. Good night. Take it. Take it to the bank. Alright, we're going to keep 7. Start with the Sundown Pass. I think it makes sense to play Oni-Cult Anvil here. Pass the turn. Iris Beetle. I mean, We'll just get rid of the expensive thing. Either way, we're going to be at 20, whether we keep the O2 to block the beetle, or we gain a life from the anvil. But this way, he also goes down to 19 instead of being at 20. And then next turn, we use Chapter 2 of Yotia Declares War to kill the virus beetle by tapping the 1/1. And if we can top deck a land... Actually, if we top deck a land, we probably don't do that. Right? Because we want to attack with the token to trigger Anim Pakal. Tiny Bones joins up. Well, we're not going to need both Novice Inspectors, so... Because we don't have a second white source. And if we draw a second white source, we're just going to play one of our 3-drops. Hello. Inspecta Decta. Sand card. Hi. I don't understand what's taking him so long. We're gonna play the Novice Inspector. This is mind-numbing. I don't know. I don't understand. Sure. We're going to keep the clue token since we really need a land. If we're desperate next turn, we can sack the clue and hopefully draw into a land. And if not, we can turn it into a 4/4 with Yotia Declares War. Just swing with everything, because if he blocks the 1/1, we're just going to sack it to the anvil. Looks good to me. Down to 12. Bloodletter of Aquazotz. So, are we one hit killed next turn? We might be. So we either need to kill him, or we need to kill the Bloodletter, right? Let me think. If Yotia Declares War now, I can't. Well, I guess I could then swing with the Anim Pakal itself, and then okay. Found my line. 2. Kill the Bloodletter. Swing with Pakal. Make a bunch of boys. Get in for some damage. The only thing that stinks is I can't sack anything to the Oni-Cult Anvil this turn. But it's probably worth it. We can Kambal next turn. Unless he takes it. Hopeless Nightmare. Oh, man. That's a bummer. We have enough on the field, though. I don't think it matters. Gross. So gross. Oh, my God. Let's go, buddy. Let's go. He has to block with the Deep Cavern Bat and give us back Teysa. Sack a gnome. Make a couple boys. Drain. End the turn. We can block and then sack to the anvil. Glorious. Like, even if he wipes the board at this point, it's not gonna matter. He would need to get rid of the anvils. Untapped works? Yay! I'm so happy. That's good to hear, Prodigy. Well, there we go. This looks great. We will keep it. Ankle biter. Well, we'll lead with you and you. Dock or lock. Uh-oh. We're in for some real broken stuff. Hallow Alchemist. Sure. Ugh. That was mean. Not a whole lot we can do here. No attacks. If he swings with the ankle biter, we'll trade our inspector for the ankle biter. Does he have more removal? He's got a centaur boy. Bust my buttons. I mean, at this point, he's pretty much already got all of his value off the dock. So, we're gonna do it like this. Do we kill the ankle biter? No. We make the 0-2. And then we say go. It'll change once Rafine is gone. Phantom Interference. Oh, wow. Okay. No tax. Hyro. Trailblazer. Gets some mana that he doesn't need. Oh, he can sack the clue though. Plays the commando. Draws a card. Not bad. Can't really swing though. Meanwhile, we're just over here drawing lands, because, you know, who needs anything else in their Magic deck? Not I. No tax. Honestly, might trade my Epicure and Inspector for the Trailblazer. He plotted it? You're crazy, dude. You're crazy. This man is certifiable. Anim. Here we go, baby. Swing with Kambal. Give me all the stuff. Give me all your stuff. Let's get rid of you. More land. Let's go. Bonnie Paul. Oh god. Do we kill the Trailblazer? I don't even know what we kill. If we want to kill the Trailblazer, we need to do it now so he doesn't draw a card off of Bonnie Paul. Oh, he's going to get 2 creatures with power 4 or greater, isn't he? No. No cards for you. No cards for you. None cards. Ow. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Give me that. Give me everything. Gotta do what we gotta do. Drain. Let's go. Would you like to lose your Bonnie Paul? Eh? Ballsy. Alright, gonna trade your Bonnie Paul for it. Gonna take 3. No? Don't want to lose your Bonnie Paul? Okay. If that's how you'd like to do it. Sorry. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck techs, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.